also happy to be joined by another wonderful woman, Yaffa Batya daCosta. She is the founder and CEO of Ezra Bnei Anousim, a nonprofit organization working to help members of the Converso, known as Bnei Anousim communities around the world, reconnect to their ancestral roots and beyond. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your studio, by the way. It's
Thank
great.
you so much, Yafa. Let's talk about Ezra Bnei Anousim, which in Hebrew means helping the Anusim. Just for people confused, it's known as Conversos, crypto Jews. There's a lot of names to this topic. Explain the purpose of your organization.
Okay, the purpose is to work with individuals as well as groups and communities of people who believe that they are from this historical situation of the forced converts of Spain and Portugal. And of course, people from that situation left. They fled, actually, from Portugal. Okay, there were a lot of Spanish people there also who fled Spain and went to Portugal and then went on to the New World. Okay, and most of the people that we work with are in Latin America, it turns out. The individuals who have this background, who have this ancestry in the United States and Canada, in all over Europe, all the way to Australia, etc., New Zealand, Indonesia. Okay, we work with all of them, but they don't have the same difficulty that exists in Latin America. So we spend most of our time, and I spend most of my time with those groups and communities.
You grew up as a converted Jew in the United States. Did you know growing up as a Catholic that you had Jewish ancestry?
No, and we were nominally Catholic, but my uncle knew, and my uncle left the Catholic Church, okay? And he had some indication of this, and then later I found out when I started doing the research, okay, after a trip to Israel, by the way, I got spurned on by all this. I found out from a different part of the family that the males in the family were told they were Jewish from this great-grandmother that I had. She was the one who brought the family over to the United States from the Azores. So we're on the Portuguese side, not the Spanish side, okay? And part of the family came in 1915. The other part of the family and my mother's mother came in 1917, right around the time of World War I. Okay, so it's very interesting what happened with the family, and later, I mean, I was very uncomfortable in the church, personally, as a child, when I heard a priest from the pulpit called the Jews Christ killers. It affected me viscerally. I mean, and I was just a kid, 7 or 8 years old. So at 18, I didn't want to have anything to do further with the church. For the next 20 years, I was an avowed agnostic. My brother became an atheist. So my family was all over the place. But then I started doing research after I came to Israel, and I got whacked upside the head.
Yeah, and now here you are leading, championing, a cause, I imagine, because you even said even in your own traditions, even in America, right, there was an inherent fear, like there were certain customs, even like of not trusting people out of the family, things like that.
Absolutely. We were raised to not trust anyone except family. We couldn't bring friends home, so-called friends from school. Even my father couldn't bring anyone home outside the family, okay? And all of that is related to the Inquisition, the forced conversions, and the 320 approximately years of persecution of these people, of the Bnei Anousim, of the descendants of the forced converts in the New World. People don't know this, at 320 years. Then there was another 100 years where people were still terrified, okay, and living in secret as Jews. That's what the Bnei Anousim are, as compared with the Conversos, who may have this ancestry of Jews, but they fully assimilated into the Catholic Church.
Let's talk about Inquisition Awareness, February 13. You have a very exciting kind of initiative. Tell us about that.
Okay, and by the way, this goes back to 20 years ago when I started teaching on Christian radio about Jews and Judaism in a live call-in radio show that started on two radio programs in New England, one in Worcester, Massachusetts, and the other in Providence, Rhode Island. And then when I moved to Dallas, Texas, I continued it, only it was taped. It wasn't live call-in. So I've been doing this for many, many years, teaching about anti-Semitism. And by the way, I think the problem in getting rid of anti-Semitism is, too many people call it Christian, and it's not Christian, it's Roman. And it comes from the Roman Empire, it comes from the Roman period and the Roman occupation of Judea, starting in BCE, before the Common Era, and then going into the 1st century, okay? So that is a very, very deep, deep, deep thing. But what we're gonna do, starting with February 13, coming up, this coming Sunday, okay, we are going to have screenings of this film, a wonderful film called The Children of the Inquisition, to start to explain to more and more people what happened during the Inquisition, okay? And it lasted, as I said, 320 years, all right? And then people were still scared. So it's a wonderful film. We're going to screen it first time at the Houston, Texas Holocaust Museum. This is another thing that's going on. Most of the Holocaust museums don't deal with the history of the Inquisition, and there's a connection between the Nazis, okay, and the Inquisition. They sent people to Spain to look at Inquisition archives to see how did the Spanish deal with the problem of the Jews, okay? They had to wear the star, and they had to wear a symbol on their clothing to recognize them as Jews, and all kinds of things.
I know that there is hope for the future. You feel that there is hope for the future. You're feeling a change in the, you know, in this time of the ingathering of the exiles, you know, that are so famously, you know, prefaced by Isaiah and others.
Absolutely. See, I believe that the Bnei Anousim are the tail end of the exiles coming in, because we were exiled from the rest of the exiles, and that's why it's the most difficult. Now, there are a lot of people, from rabbis to non-rabbis, but influential people, even in the government, even in Knesset, who know about this situation, who feel bad about this situation, that these people can't come home. Okay? And there are people who want to help and do something about it, so I talk to a lot of these people, a lot of what I do, and I do believe there's hope. I think there's going to be a crack, okay, coming about, where it's going to start to be a separation from those who want to help and support the Bnei Anousim and those who don't, and eventually I think the ones who want to support and help them will win.
So the light comes through.
Because that's what Hashem wants.
Yafa, thank you so very much, and it's such a pleasure to have you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.